Hello everyone, today I've got 7 tips to help you play better bar chords. So if you've always struggled with bar chords, this is going to be the video for you. Let's get to it. So the first tip I have for you when you're coming to getting to grips with bar chords is to just start with one finger. Okay, so instead of trying to fret a bar chord like this and use 3 fingers, maybe even 4, what we're going to do is just concentrate on this one finger. And we're going to try and just press that down enough to fret a bar chord. So we're just working one finger at a time, and we need to get the strength in that finger before we progress to getting the other fingers in place. Tip number 2. Get your bar as close to the fret that you want to play as you can. So if we're trying to play this or bar at this 2nd fret here, what I need to do is get my finger really close to that 2nd fret there, like almost touching. In fact, in some cases you can't actually touch. It's much easier to fret a bar chord if you're close to the fret than it is if you're right at the back here. Can you see that gap there that I've left? We don't want to do that. We want to close that up. So experiment with getting as close to that fret as you can without going to over the top. Tip number 3, and this is quite a big one actually, is to rotate your finger. So instead of just squeezing like this and having your finger completely parallel, what I do is when I drop a bar chord on is I drop the bar chord and you just watch that little rotation in my finger there. Okay, that rotation really helps and makes it a lot easier to squeeze. It's actually quite difficult to squeeze with your finger completely flat on. I'm having to put a huge amount of pressure on like that. Whereas if I put my finger on and just watch the little roll back there, it's much easier to play it like that, and you're actually using a harder part of your finger, which is a lot easier to bar with. Okay, so tip number 4, don't forget your thumb. Okay, I'm going to go side on for this one. Get your thumb right behind it. So I wonder if I can get an angle on this. I'll try to do it like this. So we're not doing it completely with our finger and no thumb whatsoever, because that's really quite difficult. I'm just about able to achieve it, but I'm having to really squeeze my ukulele with my right arm, putting pressure with my left. Let's just make sure we use our thumb. So get it right behind the bar that you're playing for extra support. So it's almost like a little pinching motion. Tip number 5 is to check the clarity of the notes that you're playing. So if I'm trying to bar at fret 3 here, to check each note's clarity, I'm just going to strum very slowly down through all those strings. And you want to make sure they all ring out. So that one was a little bit dead on that bottom string, so let me just do that again. Can you hear that note? Not really ringing out, so there's something wrong there, so we have to correct that. So I will adjust my position. Much better. So if you're struggling with one bar chord in particular and it's not sounding quite right, always check that clarity by just picking through the strings. Really helps that. Tip number 6, running out of fingers here, is don't squeeze too hard. Most people, when they start playing bar chords, really squeeze the neck of their uke so hard, like they're almost trying to crush it. You'd be surprised how little pressure you actually need to fret an actual bar. So all you have to do is make sure those strings touch that metal. You don't have to press them down as hard as you can into the fingerboard. So experiment a little bit with how much pressure you actually need. So I'm going to press down quite lightly here. And I'm actually getting away with that. I'm not squeezing very hard at all there. So if you're finding that your fingers are aching and it's absolutely killing you, and your fingers are aching so much that you can't play anymore, you're probably squeezing a little bit too hard, so back off with the squeeze a little bit there. And the last tip, number 7, is to take your time. Okay, it's going to take a while to get bar chords down. They are quite difficult, and you kind of need to just appreciate that it is going to take some time to get them perfect. And also your fingers are going to get really tired. So one thing you can do on that front to help is to only squeeze the bar chord when you want to play it. So most beginners, when they're playing bar chords, they're squeezing all of the time while they're trying to learn it. And that really tires your fingers up very quickly. Whereas when I'm playing a song, I'm only squeezing when I actually need to strum. So at the moment I'm not squeezing at all, and then just before I'm about to strum, I squeeze. Then when I've finished, I let go. And actually my fingers are working a lot less hard because of that. So just try and make sure that you're not squeezing completely all the time. Give your fingers a break when they need a break. And only squeeze when you really need to play the chord. Also, just keep tapping away at it every single day. If you do a little bit of bar chord practice every day, you find that you get there much quicker than if you try and cram in one giant session of bar chords in one go. Okay guys, I hope those bar chord tips helped you out. If you did find them useful, please give the vid a thumbs up. You can always subscribe to the channel. I'd be massively grateful if you did that. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with more ukulele videos.